People still whisper about the moment the billionaire froze mid-sentence because of a single dad no one had even noticed until he stood up and said the words that silenced the entire boardroom, "Ma'am, sit down." No one dared correct Eleanor Vance, the richest, most feared woman in the city. No one, except him. But to understand how that moment shattered her walls and rewrote both their lives, you have to go back to the morning everything began to unravel. That morning, the city woke under a pale gold sunrise, the kind that makes people feel hopeful even when they don't know why. Ethan Hale didn't notice the beauty of it. He was already running late, hair still damp from a rushed shower, lunchbox barely packed, and his 5-year-old daughter Lily squeezing her worn-out stuffed panda because it's a scary day tummy, as she called it. Ethan promised her he would pick her up early, that everything would be okay. He always promised. And he always tried. But being a single father wasn't easy, especially when you were broke, invisible, and one mistake away from losing the job that kept your whole world together. Across the city, Eleanor Vance stood in front of a mirror worth more than Ethan made in a year. She didn't look at her reflection, she inspected it. Every strand of hair was placed, every crease smoothed, every sign of humanity erased. Power demanded perfection. Feelings were for the weak, or at least that's what she'd been taught since she was old enough to walk in heels. Today's acquisition meeting would decide whether she closed the biggest deal of her career or watched a decade of ambition crumble. She didn't have time for softness, sympathy, or mistakes. Especially not from the staff who worked under her. Especially not today. Ethan arrived at Vance Global with seconds to spare, breathing hard as he tied on his maintenance badge. The building was beautiful in the way that rich people loved: glass everywhere, marble floors, polished surfaces that reflected faces like a mirror of judgment. He kept his head down. Maintenance workers weren't meant to be seen, only blamed if something wasn't perfect. When his supervisor rushed over, Ethan already sensed trouble. "The projector in the top boardroom is glitching again," the man said. "Fix it before Ms. Vance arrives. And for God's sake, don't say a word if she's in the room." Ethan nodded. He had no intention of speaking to Eleanor Vance. Everyone knew better, but fate has a strange sense of humor. When he entered the boardroom, the executives were gathering, tension rising like smoke. The projector flickered above, throwing strange shadows across the long glass table. Ethan climbed the small ladder to adjust wiring, hands steady despite the nerves, while the room filled with the scent of expensive perfume and fear. Then the double doors opened and silence fell like a dropped curtain. Eleanor Vance entered, her heels clicked with authority. Her expression was carved from granite. Conversations died instantly. She didn't look at Ethan, and he preferred it that way. He kept working, mind-focused, hoping to finish before she even noticed he existed, but the universe had other plans. A soft vibration in his pocket, then panic. His phone flashed Lily's school. His throat tightened. She never called unless something was wrong. He climbed down fast, apologizing quickly, trying to slip out without attracting attention. He almost made it. "Excuse me," Eleanor's voice sliced through the room. "Where do you think you're going? The equipment isn't fixed." Ethan froze. The room held its breath. He turned, heart hammering. I just need 1 minute, ma'am. My daughter's school is calling, and not my concern," she interrupted. "We start in 3 minutes. Finish your job." Her tone wasn't loud, but it carried the weight of someone used to bending the world to her will. Ethan's jaw clenched. Panic battled responsibility inside him. One call could mean Lily was sick, hurt, scared. But disobeying Eleanor could cost him his job. He took one step toward the door, and that's when she raised her voice, sharp, cold, final. "Mr. Hale, do not walk away from me." Something in Ethan snapped, not anger. Not rebellion. A father's fear. He turned fully, and for the first time in his life, he spoke to power without bowing. "Ma'am," he said softly but firmly, "sit down." The room gasped. A billionaire had been told to sit. By a maintenance worker. A single father. A man with nothing, but suddenly, a heart full of courage. Eleanor stared at him, stunned, as if no one had dared contradict her since the day she was born, and that moment, that breathless, impossible moment, was the beginning of everything neither of them expected. Ethan stepped out to take the call with shaking hands. Lily had fainted. She had been taken to the hospital. His world spun, but inside the boardroom, Eleanor Vance sat, or rather collapsed, into her chair with a trembling she did not understand. The man's words echoed inside her, slicing through decades of walls she'd built to keep the world out. For the first time in years, She felt something unfamiliar, something dangerous, something human, and it terrified her. She dismissed the meeting early, her mind unable to focus, her chest tight with an emotion she had long forgotten existed. Guilt. Ethan rushed across the city to the hospital, every step jabbing his heart with fear. Lily lay small and pale on the hospital bed, her fingers curled around her panda, her breathing soft and uneven. He sat beside her, tears burning in his eyes, promising her again that he would fix everything, somehow, someday. That he didn't know Eleanor Vance was standing at the doorway, watching silently. She had followed him. She didn't know why, maybe because she felt responsible, maybe because for once in her life, someone had spoken to her not with fear or admiration, but with truth. Or maybe because that single father, with tired eyes and a backbone of quiet steel, had made her question the kind of person she had become. She stepped forward, uncertain for the first time in years. "Mr. Hale," she said quietly. Ethan turned, exhaustion lining his face. "I'm sorry," she whispered. He didn't answer. He didn't need to, because apologies from billionaires didn't fix what truly mattered, but they could start something unexpected. A shift, a change, a story that neither of them knew would transform not only their lives, but the lives of everyone watching them collide from worlds apart.